Hello, everyone, and we're finally here to finish something. Well, I'm technically telling a lie because in a couple of weeks, supposedly for Deuce's birthday, we are properly finishing something. But for all intents and purposes, this is technically the last major movie based on the mutants from the Marvel Universe that 20th Century Studios, back then 20th Century Fox, did. The New Mutants. We mentioned in Dark Phoenix, me, Jova, and Dweebs, that after Apocalypse, there was supposed to be a sort of a minor restructuring. And my general belief was that the old cast would have gone into space, starting with Dark Phoenix, and have the wacky adventures there with the aliens that normally interact with the X-Men, while on Earth, a new generation of mutants would have arose and had their own set of adventures. Of course, interlocking with the events of the previous movies. And The New Mutants was clearly supposed to be the start of that, directed by Josh Boone, who doesn't really have much under his career, mostly movies, mostly a couple of movies, including he was a writer for The Pretenders in 2018. But alongside this, he also did the new version of The Stand, which is a bit hard to watch because it's told literally out of order, but it's a story for another time. But this movie, I also mentioned that each X-Men movie to me felt like it had something unique about it. This one is the one with not just the more travel development cycle, I dare so potentially more than Dark Phoenix, but also the one with the most controversies about it. Joyful. I will be quick because it's something that you can also see properly in the movie. So just for the cliff note, the movie stars technically a Native American, and to be fair, for the protagonist, the role was given to Blue Hunt, which is actually descended from two different tribes of Native America, Apache and Lakota. However, there was a character, which we'll see later in the movie, that's supposed to be portrayed by a Brazilian actor, and was chosen Henry Zaga. The problem is that Henry Zaga is Latino, while the actual character is of African ethnicity. Despite being Brazilian. As you can imagine, this caused a particular problem, particularly also with the original creator of the comics. But that's not even the best of it, because at some point, here's also your potential warning for the audience. In order to make the point across, a character which is supposed to be antagonistic towards our Native American does a couple of very insensitive racist jokes towards her. So look forward to those as well.
Woo! What a wonderful bout of adventure with our new mutants here.
But here's the thing. The movie was supposed to come out, I think in 2018 at best. But there were several problems doing the shooting. The days and everything. And then, as we know, Fox started to put their properties on bidding, which had Disney eventually picked them up. Josh Boone got to know, and basically Bob got told and decided to start reshooting in order to make the movie more self-contained, because remember, it was supposed to be the start of an original trilogy. And then the coup de grace for this arrived because in 2020, the world decided to collectively take a dump on everything, meaning that at that point, Disney had this movie that they didn't even know much to do with, much like with most of the package they got from Fox, mind you. And Josh Boone was like, look, let's just release the original cut, let's excise the post-credit scene because it's going to be pointless anyway, and let's hope for the best. So Disney decided to toss this hot potato in its original state, making all the previous development and the reshoots completely pointless because also the actors had aged in the meantime, meaning that it would have been very awkward, even worse than the first Suicide Squad movie.
That's the amazing thing, though. Apparently they did try with some reshoots here and there, which just makes it all pointless.
It doesn't matter. They're not even a movie anyway. Yeah. And the movie got tossed unceremoniously for a theatrical only release, mind you, at the end of August, beginning of September. The result, with a budget of 67-80 million, it had a recoup of only 49.1. And apparently,
or undercooked potato.
And apparently, me and Luis were one of a couple of the few souls that actually saw this, because we actually did a discussion video about it. Sadly,
what an exclusive club.
Sadly, Discord decided to fuck up my mic for that one, but that's what this commentary is for, because you might have noticed we brought up the entire band for this, because for Pedro, Dej, and Shiroi. Pedro, like we aren't sure, was in the first X-Men movie commentary, but Dej and Shiroi bet practically newcomer for it, and Shiroi, by her own admission in that commentary, told that she doesn't particularly care about this movie.
They blackmailed me.
Absolutely.
You know, Tio, of all the movies to get the whole band on, it could have been what a lot of people agreed to be the best of them, First Class.
But there's a good reason for it. First of all, Shiroi, like I mentioned, you don't really need any pre-knowledge of the previous X-Men movies. There will be connections, but you don't really need them. So you will be our perfect candidate to judge this movie as its own thing.
Okay.
So basically, you're a guinea pig for this. But also, get this. This movie also tries to portray, an LGBT relationship. So we'll have to see how that pans out.
Do I need the alcohol? Like, what is the...
I've seen it, and I don't think so.
There's more to talk about, but I think we stole enough. So get ready, folks, and start right before the 20th Century Fox logo. In in 3, 2, 1, click.
Dibs, nobody cares at this point.
Now a Disney movie.
Hold on, yes, Shiroi?
For the record, it's not that I don't like the X-Men, it's just they've never grabbed me at all. Like, I just don't care.
Didn't care.
Okay. To be fair, I don't really blame you, and let's be honest, as we discovered in our X-Men journey of sorts, while it started off good, the X-Men film franchise has been, a roller coaster, to put it lightly.
Basically.
They had two good first movies, though they've kind of aged pretty badly in terms of comic book standards. There was X-Men The Last Stand, which has aged better, but it was X-Men The Last Stand kind of weak.
Also, this movie tries to be not necessarily edgy, but the marketing hyped it up a bit more to be a bit more psychological, to be...
horror.
At least slightly horror. There are still elements of that in this, and it's definitely the one that tries to be more compared to the previous X-Men movies, but it's still nothing that it would properly qualify as a horror movie.
Speaking of the marketing for this film, all the delays the film got, the final poster for this film had the tagline "Hell is frozen over."
Let me put it into perspective. This movie had no less than 4 public delays, and those are only the delays we knew about. Who knew just how much more was going on behind the scenes of this movie?
Anyway, our protagonist, little girl there, is called Danielle, or Danny Moonstar, based on the character of the same name, played by Blue Hunt, like mentioned, Native American. Her father is portrayed by Adam Beach, who is also Native American, with apparently I think it's also part Icelandic. Interesting.
And her dad's about to die, isn't he?
Also, get ready. Not get ready, but basically.
Dead.
Yeah, there's also another thing. The pacing is a bit off of this movie. At times it's super fast. At times it slows down quite a lot, actually.
Well, hey, but, I guess one net gain from not doing the reshoots is that at least the cast won't look dead inside like the cast of Dark Phoenix did.
Yeah, like I said, not including a reshoot might have been for the best in this case, because at least the movie is in the original way it was intended, and it's the more consistent about it. Again, I don't know what the quality of that were, but if Disney will ever try to release a version of that just for funsies, I'll probably watch it. But
wait,
anyway,
hold on. No head wound, no nothing. She just wakes up fine after getting severe head trauma.
Well, I mean, there has been a bit of a skip, I think.
Not just that. It's we can also think about that. Also, that smash cut. But also, this movie prides itself on the fact that it tries to be in a more contained location with a very small cast, actually. While the previous X-Men movies were all about having a lot of people involved and going through all places, here we're just going to stay in one particular location for the entire movie.
How nice.
See, this film tries to be a bit more low-key, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. That is also why they even had a smaller budget. Again, for the standards of the X-Men series, 67, 80 million is nothing.
To be fair,
I mean, Deadpool had like a $50-odd million budget.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is at the point of the time when the X-Men films were just trying anything, throwing everything they could at the wall.
And hey, Deja, here's Alice Braga.
Should I care?
Remember
wait. She was in Suicide Squad.
And Predators.
Yeah.
Oh wow, she was in Suicide Squad in a terrible movie. Neat.
No. She's in the Suicide Squad.
Predators.
Oh right, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
the good one.
Anyway, she's playing the character of Dr. Cecilia Reyes, which is a supporting character in the actual comics.
Guys, don't you just love sequels that only differentiate themselves by adding "the" in front of the original film's title?
That's the thing. It's not a sequel. It's more like
gonna get the New Mutants.
Sort of.
I mean, apparently, from what I've heard, I haven't seen the Suicide Squad yet, but from what I've heard,
it is still a sequel.
Yeah.
Went through.
It just pretends that the first one never happened, just like
No. I've heard it still acknowledges it,
and still does.
And that again, the only reason that they didn't include Deadshot wasn't because they were trying to make people forget about the original
because
film.
Will Smith did not want it to be there.
Also, something about scheduling
they should have told
conflicts.
him Jared Leto isn't going to be in it.
But yeah, there you go. The entire gist is that she's being taken here in this facility for protection because apparently something have been chasing her. So here she's actually gonna be safe.
Also, Dad, are you suggesting that Jared Leto was the main reason people may not want to have come back for a sequel? I am so shocked. Utterly shocked.
Worst Joker ever.
Oh, someone is actually monitoring her as well.
That's a skull, okay.
So, okay.
Yes?
How connected to the X-Men universe is this?
Okay,
again, it's still set in the same universe, there will be a more direct connection. But like I said, and also for the sake of Shiri, you can literally watch this as your first movie and you will not miss anything at all.
That being said, Dej, if you see something that seems to contradict the timeline, don't be surprised. One thing we learned from our marathon of X-Men films is that for as much as they wanted to be a shared universe, they were god-awful with preserving their continuity here and there.
I can tell you this, Jova. Yes, Shiri?
No, that was me.
That was Dej.
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
This time it's me mistaking it.
To be fair, Dej did make a very high-pitched feminine noise.
Oh yeah, that was a very high-pitched noise.
But what I was saying is, here's the thing, Jova. There are so few connections in this that there's no even an occasion for it to jeopardize the continuity. I can assure you that. If anything, this is the most consistently placed in the timeline.
Oh, ironic. The movie where they knew it was going to die, pretty much put it out to die, is the one that finally starts to be more continuity driven.
For the story, in a lot of in quite a few markets. In fact, in almost every market, this film was either put close to or against directly Tenet.
And I want to remind that it was also in a period where the pandemic was still in full force, and not many people could actually view movies in theaters.
Yeah, and the vaccine wasn't out yet. And bear in mind that Tenet wasn't exactly a gangbuster at the box office either.
So this movie was essentially put out there to die.
Yeah, so basically Old Yeller style. Okay. Sorry, son. It's time to pull the trigger.
Come on, son.
Apparently this movie is on HBO Max instead of Disney Plus.
What?
Wow, seriously?
Okay, there is a reason for that.
What?
Talks about a contract before the buyout.
Yeah, remember, this film was technically made before Disney bought Fox. So they still had all the contracts and that.
Maybe that's the reason it's not on Disney Plus yet. We're just waiting for the contract to expire.
Not to mention, I can imagine there's not exactly a big demand for people to see this on Disney
No,
Plus.
Oh man,
not really.
Oh man, I totally want to see.
Anyway, let's meet the rest of our cast, shall we?
Okay, okay, for a hospital, where the hell is everyone else? Is it just these guys?
Anyway, we had Cannonball, Magic, Sunspot, and Wolfsbane, in this case played by Macy Williams. Get this, Degenerate. Magic is played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Yes, this girl is supposed to be Princess Peach.
God.
I actually completely forgot she starred in this movie when we made the Mario, talking.
Yeah, so a podcast I listened to is like, oh yeah, she was in New Mutants, that movie that never came out. No, what are you talking about? It did come out. No, it didn't.
It did come out.
Okay. I think the best way to
Might
describe...
as well not have.
I guess the best way to describe the release of this movie was stillborn. Like...
So I'm guessing this movie is gonna...
Well, think about it, Shiroi. Essentially, it was a movie put out to die, and it did just that when it was born. Happy birthday!
Again, it's time to kill Old Yeller, son. It's time.
Anyway, there you go. Wolfsbane's backstory is that, again, she has, as you can imagine from her name, more lycanthropy powers, but you will be able to see more later. And she wasn't exactly loved by the people around her.
So based on the tone and the overall style
traditional
so far,
stuff for the mutant in the universe. Yes, Pedro?
So based on the overall style and tone so far, I'm guessing this movie is going to try to be something akin to the Unbreakable universe. It's going to be a very
character-based.
Yeah, okay.
I can see what you mean about the pacing, though, Tio. Like, I get that we're getting introduced to the characters, but I don't know. It kind of feels a little slow.
It's only 94 minutes.
Yeah, like there's only some.
As I mentioned in the discussion with Libs, you can tell that there are still pieces that really feels like they've been cut.
Also, this kind of borders a bit on expositionary. Like, I mean, okay, if we're to assume that these guys have had these sessions before, shouldn't they already know this? Granted, I guess that they're introducing.
Again,
this is the big problem with
Elena Rasputin is supposed to be again not liking Danny as she arrived. But in order to express that, Joss Boone decided, or at least also the other writer, Nate Lee, decided the best course of action that she has to be not just an asshole, but even worse than that.
Wait, let me guess. She's a mutant who's racist against other mutants.
Basically. And guess what? In the comics, she was actually one of my favorite humans. So thank you, Bowie, for ruining her.
Yeah. I mean, I've read X-Men. Magic. I don't recall Magic being incredibly racist.
That's because Jova. Hold on.
Oh God.
Yeah. By the way, she has Lockheed in this version, not Kitty Pryde for some reason.
Let me guess. Lockheed is actually there, but we're waiting for that.
It's more of us. Also, where did the sock puppet went? Oh, she put it in the pocket.
I'm sure Sarah Paulson is going to come in and try to convince them that they're not mutants. It's all in their head.
Sure. Get used to objects disappearing and reappearing between shots because the movie's chock full of that.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Okay. Question, Theo. Do any characters in this movie from like the comics or anything have the ability to make things vanish?
No, that's cool.
Actually, Danny herself, she adopts later the comic book name of Mirage.
Oh, that's it. It's cool. That way it allows us to tell which scenes were the ones that were reshot and recut.
Actually, remember, Pedro, there are no reshot scenes included.
The reshots. They didn't even really do the reshoots.
Okay. Here's the thing. They
did.
The
options disappeared then.
Okay. So here's the thing. They did do reshoots, but those reshoots never made it into the film because they just threw up their hands and went, "Screw it, we're going with the original cut afterwards." Like, Jesus. I only hope that the actors were paid extra for those reshoots.
Anyway, who has seen the first Cars?
I have. I liked it.
So try to guess what's gonna happen. Also, Doggo.
Let me guess. That's Wolfsbane.
Yeah, more like Woofer than Bonk. it's kind of a variation of that, but basically said, "Oh, the gate's open. You can go at any point," but not really.
Good job,
I've
Degenerate.
seen. Guys, I heard about this bit. Have a wide open field, go out, but you won't escape anyway. I've heard that bit in Holes, which is also a Disney movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
What I'm guessing,
It's good, actually.
Okay, I've seen Holes. I'm gonna guess that Holes did it better than this movie.
Oh.
Also, where does
Yeah, it's this bit.
where does Magic get off being this racist? Okay, yeah, okay, look. For as much problems as I have had with other X-Men movies, they've never felt like they've had a character who's literally a dick just to be a dick.
And again, it's a case that you can just literally fix that by changing the actual script. Just let her still be antagonizing without using those specific words. Is that really fucking hard, Hollywood?
So here's a bit of a problem, though. I get the feeling that...
Go on, John.
I get the feeling that part of this movie is hinging on us at first thinking that the hospital is a kind and caring place.
Yes,
Problem.
But in reality, it's a cage, like Irenia said.
Like, that's the thing. If they intended for the twist to be that, oh, it's really a cage, well, you kind of blew your load early there, and that kind of gives us the idea that something's amiss and wrong. Which, okay, to be fair, it's only 90 minutes, but... God, it really does feel like we're already in the bout of a conflict.
In 90 minutes, though.
Yes.
Yes, Pedro?
So I'm guessing by low-key, you mean a lot of whining.
Also, by the way, again, this is apparently the traumas that she has passed in these recent times. Yes, now it's convincing Danny to try to jump off.
Okay, I feel like we came here a little too quickly. Like,
there needs to be some build-up here.
I get it, life sucks and all, but maybe we could get to know her struggles more than just seeing her try to kill herself. And is there no personnel around to stop something like this from happening?
Dr. Reyes is the only major personality around.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's enough.
That is stupid. Like, she doesn't seem to be around to stop this from happening.
Funny story, though, Jova.
What?
Maisie Williams didn't really think too highly of being in this movie.
No.
And yet,
you think?
And yet she was in the Game of Thrones finale.
That's not her fault.
Wait.
Not to mention those contracts.
Not just that, she's one of the better characters who is better treated in the actual season of Game of Thrones.
Wait.
All the actors of Game of Thrones hated the finale.
Oh my god.
Look at the interviews, they were like,
oh my god, guys. I just realized. So Arya Stark was in this one, and Sansa Stark was the star of Dark Phoenix. It's... Oh god.
Well, she was also in
both Jon Snow and Robert Stark instead went to the Eternals.
Was that really a window?
Compared to this movie, at the very least, yes.
Right. I have yet to see it, but you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because, again, unfortunately at this point, X-Men movies were just on the downtrend, and it really is kind of a shame.
To be fair, I like the way the scene turns out because the dialogue thing is at least more genuine, instead of trying to be super cheesy.
Yeah, who had that's the thing. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, like the guy from Game of Thrones that had the best track record in superhero movies was Peter Dinklage. He was in because X-Men Days of Future Past and Avengers Infinity War.
So what, are these two going to become a couple or something?
Gee, Jova, what tipped you off?
Oh my god! I was partially joking, but they really tell... Danny, where were you? Gee, maybe having more personnel would help, because she was literally about to kill herself.
Dr. Reyes can be capable, but again, she's not. She doesn't have she doesn't have the multiplication. She's not multiple woman, in this case. So anyway, time to showcase the other power. Cannonball. Yeah, Cannonball, however, Jova in this version is kind of a masochist because he can't control his powers and he hurts himself most of the time. Poor bastard. I guess that's what happens when you don't have Cable coaching you around.
Why is he a masochist? Is he doing this to atone for something?
He's genuinely also trying to improve his powers, to actually learn to control them.
Yes, we get it. Your big brother and all.
So, okay, question.
Oh, so he killed his dad.
Oh, no, there you go. Then there's Sunspot. He was actually a spoiled rich boy, but something had to have happened to him.
When I first saw this movie, I thought he was one of the guys off Cyberbully.
What?
Well, you've never seen Cyberbully? Boy, do I have a movie to show you, Dej.
Is she though?
So is this the romance that they're trying to build up between these two?
Basically, yeah.
Like, seriously, I was partially joking when I guessed they would be the couple, but nope, they are. Okay, you know what? Maybe this movie can properly build it up. Maybe it won't just be...
I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this in the round talk that me and Wibbs did. I think it's fine. It's not the best thing in the world, but it does the job it's supposed to do.
Anyway,
foreboding, the Angel of Death statue. Very subtle movie.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, here's what I recommend, since we're now getting a follow-up to it that they announced recently on Disney Plus. You can get on Disney Plus. You can watch the 90s X-Men animated series. That's probably your best bet in terms of properly getting into the X-Men. Basically,
oh, that one's even getting a revival.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now it's actually the best time to try that show out because there's a follow-up coming now.
Yeah, that was a very good show, honestly.
Yep. Still my favorite incarnation outside of the comics.
Anyway, in this version, poor Cannonball was actually a mine working child, but something's happening on Danny.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's kind of unclear what Danny's power. Well, okay.
That's the major. That's the major mystery of the movie that will be revealed later. But that's basically the catalyst.
So why is Roberto always washing the dishes or doing the laundry?
It's basically his job. He decided to do it. Basically, it's like a self-sustained kind of community. Each person does something to clean up the place.
Yeah, it's your job. It's kind of like how in Big Brother there's always that one contestant who's the nice one. Does all the chores, and everybody else is the lazy one. So that's Roberto. He's the one that is the most popular because he does all the chores, while the other ones are lazy assholes.
You could have just said it's like being at university.
No, don't tell me the dryer's about to come and try and eat him.
No. To be fair, they try to do something a bit more clever than that.
I never actually went to university, Shiro, so my knowledge is a bit limited.
Fun fact: there is actually a Stephen King story about a killer washing machine.
I mean,
of course,
are you even surprised?
The manta ray ends with the China ends with a manta ray.
Didn't the Harry Potter games have you fight a washing machine or something?
Oh, are we about to see his greatest fears about how he killed his dad in a mining? Oh, there we go.
More like having a bit of virtual reality PTSD.
Weird though. Why is it happening now all of a sudden?
Again, just be patient. Let it happen.
You did this.
By the way, we didn't mention the score was done by Mark Snow, who is mostly a TV composer, mostly famous for The X-Files. The score is very forgettable, to be honest. It's not bad. It's just forgettable.
He turns around, and we see the dying, bleeding, and bloody face of his father.
No,
Actually,
he's just
no.
fine. Still the father, but it's fine. It's not why you did this to me, Jova, but it's closer. There you go. Get used to 4 cannonball gets tossed all over the place in this fucking movie.
I know that scene was supposed to be horrifying, but something about it felt unintentionally funny.
It's more like I feel sorry for the poor guy.
Yeah.
Wait, did I miss something?
The flashback of Cannonball lives in the mine.
So, about my cinema experience watching this film.
Oh.
How comfy was it being all there in the theater?
Okay, well, I had my mask on throughout, except while I was eating something, because again, September 2020, no vaccine yet.
Uh-huh.
Guess how many people were in the screening with me?
That's you.
Yes, it was just me. I was literally the only person there.
There was still
So
a
why the
couple.
fuck did everyone
Loser
wearing my
sits in the
mask?
movie theater by himself.
My
article.
screening was a bit better. There were like at least around 6 more people other than me.
So
Me and
I was
Alice were the only ones in our screening for the Sonic movie.
So I was like, why did they even bother wearing my mask? There was no one else there.
Yeah, about that. To be fair, she doesn't know.
She got branded, didn't she?
Nah, she's just a big Wario fan.
Wow, what a terrible fate.
Yeah, being a
It's more
Wario
like
fan.
you have better ways to do that.
Sure. No. Terrible would be if she was a Waluigi fan. Now that would be.
No.
Pedro, you could at least wait until I'm not in the room to say that.
Wait. Here's the thing. She's a big fan of Wario Lands, but she hasn't gotten a new game in years, and they keep giving her WarioWare. It's like,
Jesus, will someone just give this boy a hug? Like it seems.
Hey, WarioWare's good. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, again, there's an actual hint of not a hint of, but there's practical several things.
Okay, I have to say this. There's being edgy, and then there's just punching yourself into unconsciousness. Like seriously.
Don't get me wrong. I get that they're trying to portray trauma and PTSD, but with Cannonball, it seems just a little too much like they're trying to be taken seriously to, again, the point where it feels kind of comical. He literally shakes in the mirror and then punches himself. He rockets himself back into the wall like Wile E. freaking Coyote. Like, I get what they're trying to do, but they're doing it pretty badly. And we're almost a third of the way into this movie. Christ.
Mm-hmm. Okay, remind me, please, what are we watching? I know that it's something, but I forgot what cameo is supposed to be. I think it's another Fox property.
Also, what's the blonde bitch's problem?
She's racist. That seems to be her problem.
She's just an asshole. And don't get me wrong, there's kind of a good reason for her to be so antagonistic against everyone else. But again, this first half does a very poor job in actually handling that.
Huh. Well, for that, I'm going to have to kill you.
Jesus.
Wow. Ha! You don't know your
what accent
power.
is she going for?
It sounds
Russian.
like
She's supposed to be Russian, the Edge.
and she's doing it terribly, if I'm to be honest.
Isn't she British?
Remember, thankfully, after this is also her power, but more on that later. But again, so do I. remember, she thankfully starred in the Queen's Gambit after this, so her career is actually going somewhere.
So she literally just tried
She's
to kill...
the reason why people keep buying chess.
So
Basically.
she literally just tried to kill Danny. Maybe we should put her on lockdown or something.
Yes,
give her a bit of a punishment.
she's actually doing. The doctor is actually doing it. Isolation cells.
Yes, Tio, they were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right, that's what I was thinking about. Again, I haven't watched the entire series. I couldn't recognize the episode.
Wait. Why is Danny being punished?
Because it's the classic, it doesn't matter who started it, Jova.
The public education system method.
Basically.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I can tell you this, from this point onward, the character of Magic will actually start to improve for what it's worth.
Does it feel like it's earned, though? Because, okay, here's my...
you will be able to judge it by the end. You're asking for someone who actually likes the character in the comics, so I might be too biased for that.
Well, okay. See, here's the thing. If you're gonna make the character that much of a tool...
What? Yeah, apparently in this version, Magic was actually abducted by a cult. More on that later.
Okay. Here's my metric. When you make a character such a tool in the first place, do not make their transition to being a nice person feel unearned. Because otherwise, it's just, why did you make them this unlikable in the first place?
Again, I guess you'll be able to judge it by the end of the movie. Because it is something that can be easy said yes or no on that.
Okay, that being said, I do...
Uh-oh.
What the... Anomaly detected.
Their powers are kind of out of control, whatever they're supposed to be.
I thought the movie crashed.
Don't eat the red snow, Danny.
When I saw this in the cinema, I thought, oh crap, the movie file crashed.
But yeah, Tio, I do sympathize with you, and I do get it. Like, it does suck when a character we like is, portrayed so badly, and, that the movie kind of screws her over. And, I do get it. I've seen the original Magic. She's not like this, so why? And, okay, I get the thing with Cannonball, but I feel like they're kind of doing Cannonball dirty here. I'm sure he'll get better or something, but otherwise, it's just...
Yeah. Understanding Danny's power is gonna be the top priority for this place. Again, the computer doesn't seem to realize that much, mostly just, as it says, psionic energies. But the biggest question is, who is actually sending these results to the Doctress? That's one of the mysteries.
Okay. I swear, I'm trying to give this movie a fair chance, but it's just not really grabbing me. I don't know. Maybe
I just don't care.
Yeah, the problem is that they're not doing a good job developing the characters. Just having them stay mopey, and that somehow makes them deep.
Okay, consider
edgy fan fiction.
Consider this. The fans already were gonna have enough trouble caring about this movie, which was supposed to be the end of the X-Men timeline, which pretty much had nothing to do with the characters that we've grown to like across either era.
There's no Wolverine cameo, in case you're wondering. Well, okay, I'm kind of telling a small lie, but you'll see for yourself later.
Okay. So again, your work is cut out for you. Kind of like a lot of Phase 4 MCU films, which have to focus on characters that aren't the established new main ones.
Again, Wolfsbane was raised in a strict religious family, so even if she's far from them and she was judged, some habits something that you cannot just drop completely.
I guess to give this movie one credit, the backstories do seem to be, varied enough. It's not like, all parents were assholes or something, but, it's not like a case where some of them just died. Though...
a superior? It might be Professor X.
So this movie's implying that
Let me guess, the plot twist is that it's Magneto.
No, Dad. You'll see for yourself later.
Okay, Dej, all things considered, for as many faults as Magneto has, he would not stand for the caging of mutants in any circumstance whatsoever.
Again, there will be an answer later, don't worry.
I don't know, because sometimes Magneto does kind of cross the line.
Oh, good to know.
It does kind of depend on who's writing him. Oh. Let me guess, she's about to get confronted by a vision.
Uh-oh. Huh.
Well, that happened.
Grabs her by the neck.
That voice, let me see if it's mentioned.
Okay. Either they're seeing this stuff in their heads, or this is really happening.
Again, let's just let it wait. That voice was from actor Happy Anderson, who has done a couple of movies, but not much. It's mostly a TV actor. Let me see if there's something that I can recognize.
You know, I have a sneaking feeling
not much.
You know, I have a sneaking feeling I know what is the twist behind these visions, and if that's the case, it is sad that I called it this early, because it feels like the movie really wants it to be a mystery, but for the sake of it, I'm going to not reveal what my guess is.
Anyway, you wanted to see a more quiet scene for the characters to develop a bit more, Pedro. There's also this one.
Alright, let's see.
Also, why is Danny wanting to be even within 10 feet of Magic after, you know, Magic nearly killed her? Oh yeah, let's play...
Again, only human contact that she has. Again, are these bunch of people. Anyway, truth machine test.
Why?
For funsies.
Okay. So Reyes is asleep. Gee, yeah, it was really smart to put just one mutant on guard of all these other mutants.
Sus. Alright, let's see what Cannonball can say. You might want to remove the jacket first. That's not how a true machine works.
Are detectors even accurate?
Only at the very least, some partially. But again, it doesn't work just like this.
Let me put it like this: lie detectors are fallible. If someone's a good enough actor, they can cheat a lie detector.
Yeah, basically.
It's not like they're not accurate enough to be used in any legitimate way.
Unlike what the medias tell you.
Okay. There are some more.
Yeah, that's one bit I remember from back when there was a skit in WWE when Vince McMahon put himself under a lie detector
with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and then he said, there's a reason that these things aren't admissible in court. People can lie through their teeth.
Yeah.
Are you the greatest son of a bitch that God has ever graced on this earth, Vince? No.
No.
I am.
Alright, hold on. This bit is important.
Ooh, familial connections.
Wow, they're even kind of bidding a similar backstory to Suicide Squad, kind of.
Wow, you just went hugged, were you?
More than you can imagine, Shiroi.
Thank you, music. I can tell you're trying to make me feel sentimental and all, but I'm just trying to know how much of this is legit.
Magic's turn.
I'm sure this is gonna go so well.
I was gonna say there's music playing.
Yeah, it's very quiet, but there is.
Yeah, I thought that's just echo. I thought it was just crickets. No, I'm being dead serious.
And yeah, by the way, her backstory also very involved that she killed a lot of people, actually, technically, and she's not lying.
So the music in this film was done by Jon Snow, who's more famous for making the theme tune and music for the X-Files.
I already mentioned that what you were BRB with, don't worry.
Oh, so much for Reyes being asleep.
Yeah. Busted!
But what if they don't want to be moved to their facility?
Well, then I'll tell them what they want.
There you go,
Yeah, I mean, you just said.
She still has a point because in this particular continuity, people are jerks 9 times out of 10 towards mutants, so it's not a good idea.
Well, okay. This depends on where we are in the timeline. Cause...
Okay, you want a timeline placement after Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Between Dark Phoenix and the first Deadpool, technically.
Then it depends then, because mutants may or may not have been treated better at this point.
Actually, let me see if it's mentioned directly the year. No, it doesn't. Okay. Shame, because Dark Phoenix even mentioned the placement timeline.
You see, Java, back in Dark Phoenix, when the MCU came in to take all the mutants, these guys were the ones left behind.
Basically, you can kind of say that as well.
You know what?
They'll reboot them in 5 years.
You know what?
Basically, Shiroi, there's a force squad in X-Men Dark Phoenix, which was the last proper...
Now she's sleeping because Magic spiked her tea.
So we're gonna hang out again, I guess.
With a montage to boot.
So yeah, basically, Shiroi, what Pedro was saying was in Dark Phoenix, the last X-Men movie, there was a group that takes the X-Men away for the final climactic fight scene that are literally called the MCU.
The Mutant Containment
Dark Phoenix was not exactly the most subtle of pictures. So that being said,
also as a general rule of thumb, in case you haven't noticed in stuff like even A Way Out, I'm not particularly fond of people misusing wheelchairs.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't have Commander Feige or something.
That may have been just a little too much cutting in, and Feige may have actually been able to veto that.
Oh no, there you go. Now we're discussing. Basically, this is one of the few connections to the rest of the series here, and you don't really need it because they're just referencing the classic thing from
them.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, shut up.
For the record, sure, this is going to be Princess Peach.
Yeah. No, she's not even joking, Shiroi. She's actually being casted as Princess Peach's voice actress.
We all saw that direct.
To be fair,
I mean, she could be Bowsette probably.
Totally.
No, okay, guys. There's something that I hate to break to you, but actors have range.
Not all of them.
Oh no, I'm aware.
She was just in a bad movie doing a bad Russian accent, but yet she's in The Queen's Gambit, which is one of Netflix's biggest shows.
I will admit, I've seen Queen's Gambit. It's actually not bad.
Anyway, while Wolfsbane and Danny will sneak around in the docks on their own, there you go. Sunspot and Cannonball will have more time to talk for themselves.
Just Sky Talk.
Bruh. And that triggered his mutant powers.
That's Storm's origin.
I don't actually remember if it was actually Cannonball's origin story, but I severely doubt it.
Okay. It's not entirely Storm's origin, but part of Storm's origin is that she got claustrophobia.
Oh, actually, no. It is actually his backstory. My bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? Fair enough.
The other exception was as soon as his power developed up, he was hired by the Alpha Club instead.
Question: does Magneto use her claustrophobia to his advantage?
Oh, Storms?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Again, we still don't know what Sunspot's power are supposed to be.
I wonder.
And it's not really willing to talk about them.
Oh, you make people's heads explode.
Yes, those. I love those TVs that don't work on their own anymore. Times go by where I kind of miss that org.
Poor Macy. You know the sad thing about anyone who's a Games of Thrones actor? Before that godforsaken finale, Game of Thrones was actually a hot ticket item that helped a lot of people rise to prominence. You got into Game of Thrones, suddenly every studio wanted you. But after that...
Also, it was actually a good show, and then, what happened?
And then, granted, I heard it's like the finale was just the
there you go.
Iceberg.
The barrier that the Doctress has put up around the place impedes even the rain to actually pour in, which creates these nice fireworks.
Why can't I get that?
But
I feel like that's bad for the plants.
But okay. I guess you do have raised a good point about Game of Thrones. That being said, though...
We'll get a plastic plant.
That being said, though, tip or not, it was the worst of it. Like, the thing I've seen from Game of Thrones Season 8 is that it started off apparently okay with the first episode, then got problematic with the second episode... then became crap by episode 3 and only got worse with each episode.
That is true, Jova. On the long scheme, it's kind of pointless pointless in a sense of ruining stuff, because by that point, most of the actors who needed to become famous, like Macy Williams or, again, Peter Dinklage, did become famous anyway.
Oh, of course. What I mean is that after the finale, though, it seems like some Game of Thrones actors are... more or less somewhat better or worse
now
off.
It's time for Sunspot's moment.
What happened? Did he set fire to the people that his father rescued as Zorro?
Remember, Joe? I didn't mention it. There was supposed to be an after-credit scene where Antonio Banderas was supposed to be playing Sunspot's father, but that got cut away.
Also, not for nothing, but for a hospital, this place does not seem the best well kept. Again,
that's because
only one staff member.
Again, it's also a relocated place, but again, it's tied to what's going to happen later, Jova.
Is she bitchy enough that she may try to drown him just for fun and jokes?
No.
It's hard to tell with this magic to you.
Again, like I said, after the isolation scene, her character does become better.
For what? Okay.
Still wouldn't want to be alone in a pool with her, though.
That could actually be a really somewhat soothing screensaver.
Yeah.
Put some lo-fi.
This is a nice screensaver. Where's it
from? Okay. Honest question to you. Is this one of those movies where you have to pretty much see the creators confirm that, yes, these two are a couple?
No, Jova, look at that. It's blatantly obvious.
I mean...
The more that you need is literally the hands of the director pushing these two together.
These bitches gay.
Good for them.
Good for them.
You know what? Good for them. And you know what? You don't have to make a big deal of them being gay.
Like you said, I don't think it's anything particularly groundbreaking, but it's not bad.
There you go. They kissed.
It's fine.
Which once again conveniently editable away for the countries that are super scared by two people of the same gender kissing.
Because Hollywood are cowards.
Yeah,
By the way, Shiri, just to let you know, they did that again for New Mutants. For Eternals. For Eternals, my bad.
Oh, god damn it. Even Eternals? Come on. I thought
Eternals wasn't in China because of the director.
Again, I'll mention this after the commentary, but yeah.
And I thought Eternals was supposed to be the all-inclusive cast sort of movie. Damn.
More later.
But yes, watch as they make out on the field. So, yeah, okay. You made a good LGBT... Oh, I'm not sure if I'd call it a good LGBT couple, but you made a non-cringe one. Meanwhile, here's a...
Again, Sunspot, remember what Sunspot said during the True Machine test? He tends to get too hot.
Oh, don't tell me arousal heats him up.
Well, it's more like extreme emotions.
Is he gonna combust?
I was gonna say, well, Joe, to be fair, Incredible Hulk did the exact same thing.
Well, didn't we not like that either?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For the record, there was actually a reception from the initial creator of the comic, but I will mention this for the final thoughts because that point you get a bigger picture.
Oh,
wait, so you melted your girlfriend
because he got. Because he got. I'm sorry. He killed his girlfriend because he got too horny.
Because things got a little too steamy.
Like, I get it. And they're trying to be tragic with it, but come on. The way they just pointed that out, it's like, and now I can never love again because whenever I get too in love...
Well, again, it's because right now he can't control his powers.
I know, like, but it is supposed to be...
Magic is now in a room? How did she do that?
She has teleporting abilities, doesn't she?
Oh, no.
Oh, God, no.
Why?
He killed Magic. Or she was never...
Wait, let me guess. That's the burning carcass of his old girlfriend, isn't it? Look at me, honey. At least you won't kill me now. I'm already on fire. I'm burning with a passion for you.
See, the thing is, I know it's supposed to be serious, but as me and Jova have already pointed out, there's just so many jokes you can make. There's too many jokes you can make.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like this movie feels like the kind of script where they probably did not think things through here.
Like, well, gee, Jova, maybe the racist actually, remarks might have been a bigger clue than this.
I mean, it's just, this is the whole movie, though. This movie feels like a mistake overall. And, like, it feels like a very comical mistake.
And there you go, that's his power, becoming basically the human, kind of like the Human Torch.
Or, have you ever seen Heroes?
I forgot which specific character had that power, yeah.
Well, no, I'm thinking about the nuclear guy.
Yeah, it's kind of similar.
Woo! Steamy.
That isn't smoke, that's steamed.
It was Danny, wasn't it? Just uncontrollable, and she probably couldn't control her powers. Like, once you eliminate the possibility of it being Ileana, Danny's the only one whose mutant powers we haven't seen.
Also, pay attention. Okay, it's not immediately starts now, but for the next set of scene, Cannonball's hat is gonna flip-flop between being on his head and not being on his head constantly.
Projecting, are you?
There you go, more isolation.
Hey, if she can teleport, though, what's stopping her from teleporting out of that door?
Well, clearly she can't, apparently.
I guess. Still, that was quite an interesting smash cut.
Okay, Jova, and Reeves already knows, but basically, Jova, this is one other moment of continuity for you, so be prepared. All right, there you go, more testing.
That said, I hope the movie doesn't still expect us to believe that they're prepping them to join the X-Men of all things. Because I get the feeling
again, just wait for that.
Yourself. You were running from yourself, Danny.
Well, Jeva, considering my subtitles said Inhuman growling, maybe she was running from the Inhumans.
Oh, God, you reminded me of Inhumans versus X-Men.
Hey, that's Storm led. Storm led the X-Men.
You know what? It was nice to see Storm lead the X-Men. Of course,
the only reason why I know that is because Death Battle talked about it today.
Wait,
okay, Jova, here's the
Logan!
In case this is the bit that you might need to know a bit about She-Ra. Essentially, in Logan, you get this like stock footage kind of bit that showcase a bunch of children mutants being tortured by a particular facility, and that's it.
But wait, how did Danny see that?
Well, for that, Jova, we need to wait until another later point in the movie.
Is she seeing through what were her father's eyes?
Or was she seeing through the doctor's eyes?
Potentially. Again. Oh, no. Now it's time for Magic's moment.
Oh, no. It's Slender Man.
Yeah. Kinda. And also Wolfsbane moment.
Anyway, you were saying earlier, Dej?
I was going to say, I haven't seen Logan, but what are all the mutants about at that point dying?
Again, I will tell you the payoff of that as the movie ends. It's the priest, the one that did branded her.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. I don't know. I'm a puppet.
It's a bit about the Torrance child talking to his finger in the first Shining.
That's the thing about this movie. It's meant to be like a horror. It's meant to be a horror film, but there's quite a lot of times where it's more funny than scary.
It really is in some cases.
Jesus.
I'm guessing the twist is that Danny's the one that calls on it because of her psychological powers and something. Just like Raven, that one episode of Teen Titans.
Well, okay, let's put the pieces together, Dej. Supposedly, nothing bad was happening before she arrived, so clearly something is happening.
Yeah, again, if they're trying to treat this like a big twist, I kind of called it from the...
to be fair, it's not that it's supposed to be the real big twist. Yeah. Yeah, to be fair,
my arm into metal.
Magic's power are actually accurate, comic book accurate. She basically taps into an alternate dimension called Limbo, which allows her to get particular powers like there you go, the mail on her arm or a sword.
And the dragon too.
Tranquilizers?
Yes, basically. Bonk.
Well, that happened. That was a nice session, everyone. See you next day. I mean, come on.
Tomorrow, let's draw with crayons.
I mean, and she leaves the puppet behind as... What?
Oh, there are crayons?
Okay.
You were joking.
We're actually about to receive her backstory in a second as well.
Yes, Danny, that's smart to go to the girl who's tried to kill you now twice. Like, I get that you may want to make amends, but maybe we could wait just a bit more until they magically...
No, sorry, not enough time.
Yeah, I guess so. We're over halfway through this movie. Christ.
I mean, she could have at least knocked first. I think that would have been better.
Really? So rude.
I'm sorry that I may have brought traumatic memories that have scarred you guys mentally and literally physically.
It's weird how she's just casually talking to her like this.
Yeah, like...
She, again, the trauma and everything, the fact, remember, Danny touching her opened up again her trauma and everything. She's also still a bit under the tranquilizer, so at the very least she's opening up to her.
I'm sorry, but this feels way too quick to just go from trying to kill each other to just, oh, now we're talking fine every now and then. Like, look at the older...
she's kind of docile at the moment.
Like, look at the older X-Men films. Even though Logan wasn't an enemy of the X-Men, it still took a good portion for him to actually trust them enough to not venture out on his own here and there. Because, you know, it took some time to build up the team dynamic. Hell, you could argue Logan even wasn't truly an X-Men until by the end of X-Men 2. This just feels way too rushed. Like, this feels like...
I disagree, because I wouldn't call them exactly friends. It's just kind of like, we have to live with each other anyway. We might as well.
That's basically that.
There's nothing that says they're getting along here.
Or at the very least, telling what their power and what their deal and made up being. Again, someone or something did kidnap her as a little child, and her mutant power manifested and managed to get her hiding, in this alternate dimension for her safety.
The only people that are really getting on are Maisie Williams' character and our main lead.
Well, no doubt.
That drawing would look right at home in a certain video game.
Okay.
What video game?
Never mind.
We got a copy message.
Okay, this is important. Hold on, this is actually important.
It's called Omori.
She's received. She's receiving this mail particularly about the Musa telling it to terminate. But from who this mail is supposed to be?
Okay.
Hold on, Java.
Don't tell me.
Wait for it. It's from Essex, Jova. Yes, no. Mr. Sinister is behind this facility.
What a surprise! The gloomy, spooky facility wasn't tied to Xavier, but to Mr. Sinister.
And keep in mind, Jova, we don't see Mr. Sinister in action. Sadly, this is the closest. This is still the closest we get.
I guess he was supposed to show.
Yeah, I get the idea. It was supposed to be the big battle of the entire trilogy of the New Mutants, but. Again, we'll have to be caught away.
Okay, Tio. I'll give you that maybe they didn't try to act like Danny being behind everything was the big twist, but they were definitely hoping for this to be a big twist, and it's like, no, just... Okay, look. Maybe we couldn't have guessed Essex, but it was kind of obvious that this was a shady organization, because again, what kind of proper organization has a supposed hospital with only one employee, looks as gloomy and creepy as this one does, and literally keeps their inmates caged in there? Like, you think they're taking messages from Nurse Ratched or something? Christ on a bicycle.
Although I think I will say this is the one time where me, as somebody who doesn't know, is just here like, who dat?
Bad person, Shiri. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, from X-Men First Class. That's him. That's supposed to be the villain.
No. That's Sebastian Shaw, who's the villain of First Class.
Mr. Sinister is the guy that they were trying to build up at the end of Days of Future Past, but then in Logan they decided, no, a completely different company took over his one and his experiment. That's where the footage with the mutant children comes from.
I wonder if they tried to imply that Mr. Sinister also got killed by Xavier and Logan.
Supposedly, at the very least.
Mr. Sinister the guy that wants Jean Grey and Scott Summers to fuck so they can give birth to Cable.
I think so. Yes, Fury?
The only thing I thought of when I saw the name, because Essex, a very specific part of England, and that's all the reference I have.
What, Mr. Sinister's in the only way is Essex?
Yeah, Mr. Sinister is in Towie or whatever.
I don't know if it's in the UK or America, but there's a place called Penn Island, which when it is written forms something completely different.
Okay. Let me reiterate my earlier point from before. Maybe they're not Maybe they're not exactly friends, but I still do find it a little unbelievable that they immediately have one scene with them trying to kill each other to them just talking calmly out of nowhere. I feel like
there's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Gentleman episode. I remember that too. That one actually. Also,
one at a time.
It was also the fact that they were at the very least trying to approach the situation in a different manner rather than trying to jump constantly at each other's throat.
I think the problem is just how sudden the scene feels, and yes, we can allot that to the fact that this movie is barely over 90 minutes long. Okay, even if you're trying to make it on your own, why is this movie so short? For trying to establish no less than 5 or 6 new characters here. Maybe that could have at least had 2 hours? I don't know.
Drugs.
Wow, that's not foreboding at all.
Oh, and by the way, in case you need to know just for the sprinkles of it, Dr. Reyes in the comic is supposed to be a good person.
Oh, God!
She's basically the villain now.
So
are you implying you're about to dissect her?
More like, no, she's actually trying to lethal inject her. She's connecting to the backstory that she mentioned before about her being a vet, her power being a vet.
Her mother being a vet. So what you're saying, too, is that they essentially did what Amazing Spider-Man 2 did to Dr. Kafka. Turned a personally very helpful doctor character who legit wanted to help into a psycho's torturer.
Okay, now it's time for Magic's backstory now, because this is going to become part of the climax. Again, she was basically abducted by these things. By the way, fun trivia for you: these things do not talk, but they do. They have grunts. Guess what person is doing the grunts? Marilyn Manson.
Wait, what?
Why?
It feels very random. I don't even know why.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The man can grunt, but is this transition into voice acting?
For the record, I don't remember if these creatures were actually from the comics or not. Again, sadly, I don't remember them much.
So you're telling me Mr. Sinister, the ever mastermind of a villain, literally left a facility with one person in charge, and mind you, with that one person in charge,
that's because he's supposed to be in secrecy, supposedly.
Yeah, except she's kind of done a crap job running it. All this crazy stuff is happening under her watch, and this implies that if they take her out, then they can get out scot-free.
Not just that, Jova. To be fair, she was doing a fine job until this point. The worst that she got was that Magic was not responding appropriately. But otherwise, she was doing fine. It's Danny who basically put everything in jeopardy. So basically, that's the start of our climax. Yes, from this point onward, that's the entirety of the climax. First with these creatures.
So will we ever get any answers to what these things are?
These are basically the creatures that did kidnap Magic when she was a child. In this case, because of Danny's power, were made manifest, corporeal.
Okay, how accurate is this to Magic's backstory in the comics?
Okay, but I forget what's causing all these things.
Danny's power. Her power is basically psionic, which allows her to basically, since this time is uncontrolled, to basically tap into other people's, fears and minds.
Okay. I get those showing up for Magic because they're her fear, but why are they showing up for Roberto?
Because basically now we're spiraling out of control and going towards in the entirety of the facility.
So what's stopping one of these things from killing Dr. Reyes then?
Well, they potentially can reach her, but again, we haven't done so far. Not to mention the fact that, again, Dr. Ace is taking her sweet time for that lethal injection.
Well, just in time for...
Pay attention to this. She manages to stab with a syringe Wolfsbane, but like for the rest of the movie, she's gonna be perfectly fine and not like sedated or anything. She's not gonna even limp.
Does it not affect her or something?
I guess.
Well, that's the thing. It must have done something since it managed to knock her off of it. But I guess now Wolfsbane has enough control of her powers because of her love for Danny that she can go partially.
Come on. No one true kiss.
This is not a Disney movie.
It is a Disney movie.
Was it at this point?
Yes.
Damn it.
Oh.
Wow.
The final result was actually distributed by the Walt Disney Corporation.
Also, Dwebs, you say that, and yet Matrix 1 did this thing too, so it's like other companies are above it.
Sorry. I know this is supposed to be disturbing, but it's like, this feels out of place.
That's just movie in general. It tries to disturb you. It tries to terrorize you.
To be perfectly honest, that's the thing. Okay, I have a bigger problem.
All right, time for Cannibal to actually be useful for the movie. Go on, Pedro.
The bigger problem when it comes to the characters is that we're only told about them, not actually shown anything. That's the thing. Like for example, the backstory involving Mao's girl from Suicide Squad. I'm sorry, I can't care for her actual name.
Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher the second.
Sure, let's go with Ratcatcher. Well, I was talking about her name in the movie. This movie, I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
No, Alice Braga in the Suicide Squad is not Ratcatcher, but the rebel leader.
Sure, whatever. The point is.
Hey, wait a minute. If she can teleport, why can't she have used that to teleport past the barrier?
She was afraid of actually trying to use that. Remember, it wasn't until Cannonball convinced her to try to do that. But still, as she mentioned to Danny, she cannot actually teleport outside of the force field.
So she says...
Now is not the time, my dude.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
So, good job, Dr. Reyes. You couldn't even kill that one girl who you had ample time to kill. And now the inmates may soon be running the asylum. And I'm guessing that if Reyes dies, they're pretty much free to go, since I assume she's the only one holding up the force field.
I think the character is actually about to discuss it right now.
Like, secrecy I get, but I'm sorry, this is one of Mr. Sinister's dumber plans here. Like...
It's more like this was like his Plan C facility, but it was like, let's just put this in the oven and see if it works out.
Did not work out that well.
Considering driving discontinuity, his company was eventually destroyed and incorporated by Donald Pierce. Yeah, I'm not too surprised that the Mr. Sinister discontinuity kind of sucks.
It is really a shame, but. I mean, again, it really does make it, to quote Pitch Meeting, super easy, barely an inconvenience. I mean, maybe if they had reservations against killing the Doctor, but hell, some of these guys seem like they'd be willing to do it, and Reyes has not exactly been the best person to them.
This movie has way too much telling and not enough showing.
I mean, and that's the thing, though. Like, when this movie tries to be taken seriously, it overdoes it to the point where it just comes off as comical.
Okay, I checked in the meantime, Jovan. No. Magic backstory was that once she was leader, she was separated by Colossus, her brother, and instead abducted to the United States by, of all people, Arcade. Okay.
Oh, God.
And her using several hostages to coerce the X-Men into opposing Doctor Doom. And eventually she's rescued and brought to the X-Mansion.
So...
What is this portal shit happening right now?
Come to think of it, is she even Colossus's brother in this continuity?
No, she's not. If she is, it's not mentioned.
Huh. And I'm hopefully it won't be as confusing as what they did with Emma Frost in this continuity.
No, like I said, in terms of continuity-wise, this is the more balanced out of all the bunch, believe it or not, Jova.
So, she's literally bleeding.
Can someone remind me... Sorry, go on, Shira, in the meantime.
Do you have enough time to write a message back there? With your blood, you know? Just...
To save you! Yes, even though I was trying to kill one of you!
Yeah, that's the extent of her powers, actually. Let me see if I can find...
In the meantime, let me just finish my point. Like, it's not only there's a shit ton of telling and not enough showing, but the movie the fact that the movie is only 90 minutes hurts it immensely. It doesn't give it time to flesh anything out. The movie has little to no time. Even when it has a moment to breathe, it's more by the tell don't show problem.
Oh, there you go. I found the quote ideally for Dr. Ray's. Sorry. We believe the purpose of science is to serve mankind. You, however, seems to regard science as some kind of dodge or hostile. Your theories are the worst kind of popular tripe. Your methods are sloppy and your conclusions are highly questionable. You're a very poor scientist.
Is that what the Disney executive said to the director upon seeing this film after the box?
So basically, her idea now is to try to kill Danny. And hopefully this will calm everything down because that
once his hand's poking out of the shield.
Yeah, it's just stuck there.
I love how this doctor's pretty much becoming cartoonishly evil all of a sudden.
To be fair,
like predators.
She's
near Topher Grace's character.
To be fair, she's nearly dead, but seems like the powers are skyrocketing again. Perimeter breach. But what did they have? What happened?
Is it Dr. Reyes's worst fear?
Sadly, no. We don't even get to know what is Dr. Reyes' worst fear. It's time for
being killed by Mr. Sinister.
It's Danny's worst fear. The thing that actually caused the destruction of a reserve.
Oh,
the demon bear!
Oh my god, it's an actual... I was joking when I said her powers would manifest a bear.
Just like that, Dr. Reyes is dead.
So that's the final boss. A CGI god-awful bear.
Okay, it doesn't really look that bad, to be honest.
I mean, remember, Joe, but there's something that doesn't have that big a budget.
And to be fair, it's an actual thing from the comic, an integral part of the character of Danny Moonstar. So
fair. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. It's just that the payoff in this movie feels kind of lame. Like, her father told her there's a bear within all of us. Oh, turns out it was literally a bear inside of her.
Well, that's because, remember, her psionic power manifests fears and everything. So implanting her a belief like that will eventually lead to a manifestation of that to happen. It's kind of like, how can I explain it? It's something like that happens to some particular fictional medias, like Warhammer 40k, where if you believe something enough, whatever it's good or bad, it just, manifests.
Okay, let me put it like this. I don't mind the powers.
Alright, time for the trailer shot.
And now the music is getting more epic and everything.
Again, they wasted these cool powers onto this version of the character. Why?
And for a fight with a bear. Okay, look, I get it.
Hold on. We got the trailer line. We can go home.
Yeah, let's go. I'm done.
Anyway.
But here's the thing: Lockheed is actually real. Never mind the fact that Lockheed is associated with the character of Kitty Pryde and not magic. What the fuck is he doing here?
Yeah, what?
You think we care about Kitty Pryde?
Maybe he got lost.
Oh, yes, it's cute.
Small dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let me put it like this. Props to it for being comic accurate. I think the problem I have with this is more so the build-up this movie was having towards it and whatnot. And the payoff just feels silly. Not bad, but just silly.
And don't forget, this is the original cut. None of the reshoots are included, so this was the original intent all along.
Yeah, not good.
The only thing that got added at the last second were the actual special effects because Joss Boone had to know which cut of the movie to use.
My guess is when Disney look at this movie, they thought, okay, the reshoots are done. How much will it take in cost to put in those reshoots? Oh, okay, fuck it, release it as it is.
Well, that's the thing, though.
And again,
Apparently, the reshoots did occur. It's just that they never bothered.
Oh, that's what I said. That's what I said.
That's what Pedro said. But it's the point is that Disney decided we were not worthy. Which, to be honest, doesn't claim because a lot of the movies that Disney inherited from the package of Fox, they had no idea what to do with them, and so they released them scattered haphazardly, and those were the ones who were not cancelled, and the only one who seemed to succeed are the one that actually took time to be released.
Also, Jova, the entirety of the Snyder Cut was also shot. It just didn't make. It just they still needed $70 million to actually get it out and put in the special effects. You know, just shoot. Same thing with this. It will probably take a bit more to put those reshoots into the movie. So then Disney probably thought, nah, not worth it.
So,
like from what I heard, the last duel is apparently good enough, and he did enough money, and and had a good reception. And supposedly we're getting next year the Death of the Nile movie, which me and Leaves are actually gonna see.
So let me put it like this, though. Here's kind of my problem with this, though. While it is nice that this is comic book accurate, at the end of the day, the final boss was Danny. In fact, Danny was literally the biggest threat to the point where Reyes as an antagonist was kind of worthless. Oh, sure, yeah, she keeps them there, but she gets dealt with so easily. It's like Dwip said, in the blink of an eye, that's all there is for Dr. Reyes when the bear comes and eats her. At this point, it's just really a moment of getting Danny to calm down or wake up or something. I don't know.
Again, there's also the thing that the character of Dr. Reyes, again, was not supposed to be a bad guy in the first place. I don't even know why they decided to do the adaptation villainy thing.
Like, I get that sometimes you change up some characters to be different here and there, but no. Stuff like this, or what they did to Dr. Kafka in Amazing Spider-Man 2, is some of the absolute dumb stuff you see in comic book movies. Dr. Kafka, Dej.
Again, who? I literally don't know who that is.
You know, okay. Let me put it like this. In the movie, it's the insanely evil German scientist who's torturing Electro. In the movie. Because in the comics, she, and mind you, it is a she is actually a Dr. Ravencroft who legit wants to help the people who go to Ravencroft, not torture them.
Alright,
yes.
For Sunspot,
I think they must have forgot the mission briefing.
Also, Joe, when you're watching it. Also, when you're watching a stupid movie, it's probably not a good. If you don't want to guess the twist, you don't make silly guesses, because that's most likely going to be the one that actually happens. So look what happened with Ribs, what he was all talking about. Oh, just crash the school, crash into Galbadia Garden Squall, and immediately right after Irvine goes, try crashing into it.
Also,
or how about when we watched The Predator, and I said, I'm going to become the Predator, and that's exactly what the thing was.
And also, I know that we mentioned Game of Thrones before. I can't believe that I made it all this far without, again, associating the fact that Macy Williams turns into an actual wolf in this movie.
No, guys, even better. A Stark interacting with someone named Danny.
Yeah.
Also, go on.
Oh, in fact, come to think of it, a character named Danny being the final boss of the film, just like with Game of Thrones. I mean, it's not
14 minutes left. I distinctly remember there is no post-credit scene.
No, like we mentioned, there was supposed to be one, but they removed it because, again, they thought it was pointless at this moment.
Oh, waste of money.
Oh,
yeah, and
don't
also
worry,
a good actor.
Don't worry, I'll be with you in your heart and all that stuff. Look,
when the rain starts to fall.
Look, can we just get this over with? Like, the more we go into this movie, the more I kind of feel sorry for the movie as a whole. Like, here it is. Like, you can tell. It wants to be taken seriously. It wants to leave its mark. But I'm sorry. When it wants to be taken seriously is when we find ourselves laughing the most at just how comical stuff comes off. Or how stuff is kind of easily dealt with. How's that, Ditch?
It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But
basically.
no, Wolfsbane, her lover, might die.
I know that you guys do tolerate this movie, and I apologize.
Dave is less than me, but I do actually.
But this does. It's not like the worst or bottom of the barrel. This is just the most.
Like I said,
I
said, I still prefer this as a conclusion to the entire franchise over Dark Phoenix.
I mean, I'm just gonna say it. They're
hard.
I'm terrified at how bad Dark Phoenix is.
Dark Phoenix is very bad.
Dark Phoenix is just a mess. Anyway,
stay. Good boy.
Yeah, that's actually what she's about to do. Again, the entire metaphor is that she needs to control her own fear, meaning that she has to tame the inner bear that's inside her.
So, as soon as she tames it, that's it. Movie over, pretty much.
Basically.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, about the music thing, actually.
Yes.
The score was originally supposed to have been done by Nate Warcock and Mike Mogis, who did music for Josh Boone previously. It's just for some reason, Mark Snow ended up getting the job, although they did use some original music from them in the soundtrack.
And suddenly, light poured down as God blessed her that day. Come on.
No. See, this movie's not even bad enough for you to hate it or anything. Like, it's just a generic bad kind of movie, like where the movie doesn't know what the fuck it's doing because it knows what it wants to say, but it doesn't know how to say it.
Don't you see, guys? Things are good now because light closed down on her. Like, this movie is generic at best and just a joke at worst.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I would have preferred a train wreck because the train wreck would be more memorable. This is just forgettable, generic bad.
Like I said, at worst, it's a joke. It wants to be taken seriously, but I'm sorry, it's a joke. And let me put it like this. Both this and Dark Phoenix are crap. They're at varying layers of crap, but they're both crap, just in different ways.
Man, Pedro, 2 mediocre Marvel movies back to back, huh?
Mediocre? What was the other one?
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No. That is way worse than mediocre.
No, Deji, I'm sorry. When you spend like
Sunspot is naked. This is from Austin Powers style.
Awkward.
Deji, you spent like a 10 tweet thread going on about that movie. That doesn't sound like you thought it was mediocre.
Yeah, no, like
I'm being generous.
Very generous. Very, very generous. Amazing Spider-Man is garbage. I mean, sorry, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Two.
I say two, how dare you?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is garbage.
Amazing Spider-Man is fantastic.
It's fine.
I wouldn't call it fantastic, but it is. All that movie needed to be great was one more draft in the script because all the necessary ingredients are there. It's just that those goddamn plot holes and some of the baffling decisions.
So what do we do now?
Let's test first if the force field is really gone with the death of Dr. Reyes.
How are they getting their food? This is a genuine question. How are they getting their food if there was
I think Magic did mention it when they were at the barrier.
You almost killed us, but you saved us.
And now we're friends.
Almost, you say, a team.
We are to be the new mutants.
Let's see. Yeah.
What did you say, Lips?
No, I was to say, we are to be the new mutants. And then I was about to say,
and then cut to credit. That's the thing with Pedro is doing the fan force stick thing.
I'm doing the fan force stick thing.
To be honest, guys, I was half expecting, as soon as they walk out the gate, all of them just go fud against the shield and they go, ah!
And that's it.
So question. Was that shoe supposed to be all that was left of Dr. Reyes?
Basically, yes. Also, again, right before asking for my thoughts, because again, no post-credit scene, basically. The original post-credit scene was supposedly for the characters to meet up with Sunspot father, which was played by Antonio Banderas. Unfortunately, again, that was cut away because it was the pointless at this moment. But, and also, in case you're wondering, yes, by the way, Stan Lee was an executive producer for this. Well,
he's producer in all of these too, because the fact that he's Stan Lee means he has to be a producer on all of these. So.
Also, in case you're wondering, by the time of almost the movie release, a question that had been popped up was that if Marvel wanted to recoup this and make it integrated into the MCU in some kind of fashion. By the time of August 2020, Josh Boone did mention that while he wished that would potentially happen, there were no actual plans to incorporate it. Considering how the movie was technically received and how it grossed, I'm kind of confident that it won't. Maybe it will be referenced, considering again now the Marvel multiverse is a thing. Who knows? I wouldn't mind some of these characters at the very least to be recouped in some kind of fashion. At the very least, Danny Moonstar and Wolfsbane. At the very least.
I'll be honest.
But here's the kicker, because Shiroi and Deji don't know yet, and to an extent maybe Pedro. You want to know what's the kicker in all of this?
Mm-hmm.
This movie, technically speaking, is completely pointless because by the time of Logan, we get to know that Professor X, due to an accident, kills almost every single mutant in this continuity. So all these kids eventually will die out.
Okay.
So let me put it like this. I don't think there's any point in paying homage to this movie. Like, for all the good it has... there's no point in this movie even being referenced in the MCU. Except maybe a passing notion. Like,
wait, how does he kill? He straight up kills them, not pulls
by
Witch and says no more mutants, and everyone loses their power.
No, it's not out of them.
No, but basically, Deji, Professor X, as Logan established, he sometimes has these fits because of his old age, and considering he's a telepath.
Basically, it means a psychic impulse that kills almost every single mutant around.
The only one who survived that we know are Logan, obviously,
and Caliban of all people,
and Caliban, who went from being
also Deadpool to an extent, but maybe transitioned to the MCU before that.
Who interestingly went from being played by some guy in X-Men Apocalypse to suddenly becoming.
Apparently important.
Important. That's kind of obvious. But
to be fair, he did used to be Psylocke's old boss.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, he also changed appearance. He became Stephen Merchant, albeit bald.
Anyway, another small thing before the final thoughts. So let me tell you what I foreshadowed before. The creators of the original New Mutants comic, Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, did put their statement of it. Bob McLeod was disappointed because of the whitewashing of Sunspot, like we mentioned. He also criticized the film because in the theatrical cut, in this case that you're about to see, his name was misspelled as M-A-C Leod instead of M-C Leod.
God.
However, the spelling was correct for the on-video release. Also, he criticized a bit Alice Braga, which is a Brazilian actress, playing a Puerto Rican character, which, fair enough, I can also see that. Chris Claremont, on the other hand, did also mention that he was kind of baffled that for a movie that did promote an actual lesbian couple, the movie did not include one of the founding members of the comic team called Karma, which actually in-universe was also a lesbian character, so...
Double standards! Yay!
You see, the reason is typecasting, so they really wanted that Game of Thrones character who was in the House of a Wolf or something like that.
But why not include the actual character Karma still?
But anyway,
there was only so much you can do for 90 minutes.
But that's it. That's your movie. No refunds, at least for me and Wix. Okay. For the final thoughts, Deji, since I think you're probably going to be the fastest. Okay,
Well,
can you elaborate
well.
a bit more on that?
See, I'd expect that from Dwibs, but not from you.
Wow.
Come on, some exclusive scoop. Like, what score are you gonna give on Twitter?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm probably just gonna give this a 4.
Fair.
Fair enough.
There's really. This just feels like white noise. I don't care what happened to any of the characters or the drama or the personal growth. There is something there for a good movie, but it's just they didn't have the right people or talent behind it, because this did feel like, all right, look, we screwed up with X-Men so bad. The higher ups are going to sell the studio to either Disney or Universe or Comcast.
Okay. To be fair, when the original cut was made, they didn't know about the whole Disney buyout.
Remember,
coming up at the time.
all that this version was missing were just the special effects. Because again, we were just waiting until the last moment to understand where to put them.
Now that being said, Deads, the reshoots being implemented were chosen not to be because they knew that, well, Disney at that time had bought it out. So make of that what you will. So consider this. Even without thinking that this would be the end, this was their best foot forward, essentially. And this is what they left in because, well, I guess the later people working on this movie thought, wait, this is the best they could do? I guess this is what the death of this franchise deserves at this point.
It's like, was anything gained here? Was anything lost?
I mean,
Money.
I guess Wolfsbane was kind of cool.
But I know what was lost.
Money.
Yeah, money, exactly.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, but whose money?
Okay.
Both.
Okay. A combination of Fox and Disney's.
If you're asking strictly power-wise, Dej, again, Magic, not just out of BS, she probably has the coolest set out of all of them. Shame that we had to fuck her up in the first half.
Yeah.
Wait. Actually, there is one good takeaway, and it's at the end, and it says the making and authorized distribution of this film supported over 15,000 jobs and involved hundreds of thousands of work hours.
Hey, you know another...
I guess people worked.
Hey, you know another movie that gave people tons of jobs and supposedly work hours?
Literally any other.
Island of Dr. Moreau, one of the worst productions ever, which tortured a lot of the people involved. Look, let's just hope that at least the making of this movie wasn't as much a nightmare as sitting through it was, because, Jesus.
We haven't... There's been nothing to suggest that.
The only thing we know is that, again, Maisie Williams did not like the working on this, and that's pretty much it, as far as I know, at the very least. And that the creators of the original comic were not pleased by it.
I'll admit, I do feel sorry for the actors who had to come back all those years later for the reshoots only to have it matter nothing. Because from what I've heard,
kind of a waste.
Yeah, from what I've heard, reshoots can be not very fun to go through at times. It does depend on the.
I mean, yeah, you pretty much already done the film, so going back and doing it again.
Anyway, you're done, Dej?
Again. If this is really the best way to end the 20-year legacy of the Fox's run of X-Men, then damn.
Let me put it like this. I feel like X-Men would have ended better with Days of Future Past or Logan. Granted, Logan is technically still the end timeline-wise.
Literally after the end.
But okay. For any movie that's not Logan, I guess I would have just ended it at Days of Future Past, because, man, what a sad last two movies the mainstream X-Men films got.
Future of the X-Men is always screwed.
It's kind of the impression I've got, even as an outsider.
I thought preventing Mystique from killing Trask was supposed to get us a better future.
I'm terrified to see Dark Phoenix. Can't wait to watch that with Jova and Pedro someday.
Anyway, is that it for your final thoughts, Dej?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, Shiroi, since now you're the newcomer.
Well, first of all, Deji, remember, no is always an option.
Yeah, but
Have some self-respect.
I like hanging out with you guys.
Aw, I'm sorry we put you
nice.
through so much bullshit.
Stockholm Syndrome cannot be that good, Edge.
It's not Stockholm Syndrome.
But anyway, that's what somebody with Stockholm Syndrome would say. But anyway, it was pretty average, honestly. I didn't dislike it by any means, but I feel like there wasn't enough here. Like, 90 minutes was... I think it's two things. 90 minutes was a bit too short for what they were trying to do with, a main cast this, big. And also, I feel like they didn't spend the 90 minutes, like, I don't think they used the time very well.
What do you mean? We needed all that time to show that magic is a racist asshole.
Because there was a lot there, they just didn't do enough with any of it.
Yeah.
Like, particularly with the backstories, especially, because we got, like, little bits and pieces, but it was just sprinkles of it, not really anything substantial. And, yeah. Pacing was a bit strange. It was, again, it falls into them not having enough time, it seems. It's just... Like, overall, this was just... Yeah, I get, like, I probably... Like, I probably do agree with Deji's score, so it's like...
Mm-hmm.
It is just there. It's just kind of... I know there are worse movies in this series, and this is a lot better than those movies, but it's still, not another great spot in a series that, from what I've heard, has apparently, not exactly had a good ride in terms of live action movies at all. The music was whatever. It was very... I don't know, the score is pretty typical for the kind of thing this is. I probably would have liked the characters a lot more if they did more with them, and yeah, they just didn't, so there's that. And that's all I have to say. This was fine, but not... I don't need to see this again, so there we go.
Alright. Pedro.
Well, that sucked.
Did you have actually any experience with these beforehand, or it was also a first-timer for you?
My first time watching this movie, yes. Well, that's the thing. Okay, like I said, this movie... Okay, this movie's trying to be the whole typical, like these five guys. It's kind of trying to do what the 2017 Power Rangers movie did. Like these teenagers who are incredibly unstable, and they eventually band together and learn to support each other and become a group by the end. The problem is, it doesn't work because the writing is terrible, and doesn't tell the story properly. There's way too much telling and not enough showing, like I said. And like I said, this movie is way too short and doesn't allow for the movie to breathe because we're just constantly moving from scene to scene and nothing gets properly fleshed out. That's the problem. Aside from that, yeah, like Shira said, there's nothing inherently offensive about this. It's just like, this is not even a train wreck. This is just one of those bad movies you watch once and you just immediately forget about it, and you're just like, well, that was a movie, I guess.
Nothing offensive about it. What about Magic, though? She seemed pretty offensive.
I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's low-hanging fruit.
The point is, this movie, this is what we call a fart movie. It happens, it's unpleasant, but you immediately forget about it the moment after 5 minutes after watching it. Or, okay, as Tay would prefer me to say, I've forgotten about it T-minus 5 minutes. So, yeah, that was a movie, I guess. It was bad, but it's not even it's the boring kind of bad. It's the bad where I can immediately tell what's wrong, and I'm just sitting there passive waiting. Well, okay. I already know what. I'm not even... This is the worst kind of bad movie. The one that's just boring. That's
all right, Jova.
Wow! That was quite a season pilot. It was pretty bad, but maybe the rest of the series can help pick things up.
Dweebza, who has to tell him that the sequels are cancelled?
Yeah, Jova, allow me to introduce you to...
Michael Rodent.
Yeah, Michael Ratz. That's kind of crazy.
Him and his armed goons need to talk to you in the back alley there.
Okay. Seriously speaking, though, at best, this feels like a poor pilot to a TV series. Like, it feels like they want us to get interested in these characters, but like Pedro said, it doesn't feel like we get to know them enough to care. Well, okay, we know more about some than others. Like, it really does feel like they did want to draw up on Wolfsbane and Danny the most. Magic, well, yeah, we get to learn more about her. And yet, we don't ever figure out why she's a racist asshat, really. I mean, unless really the reason is that, I was kidnapped by a bunch of smiling, flesh-eating monsters.
Arab upbringing was just that fucked up, Jova. Yes, that's what the reason the movie is running to with.
I've seen... Okay, look, racism is always stupid, but I have seen much better nuance than this movie.
Like I said, the core thing is just the terminology. They could have easily just let her be an asshole without using those specific terms, and we would have dodged the problem completely.
Let me put it like this: racism is like that extra step you take in making a character an asshole. Like a character being an asshole, that's okay, fine. Typical character stuff. They start off as an asshole but get better. But a racist asshole, well, that adds an extra layer to things. A very, very uncomfortable extra layer to things.
Case in point, the villain from Django Unchained, because that's literally his character, DiCaprio's character.
There, it makes sense. But here, it just doesn't. And I'll say this, whenever this movie is trying to be serious, I'm sorry, I find myself laughing more than it. Like, I get it, Cannonball tortures himself, but it feels like something out of Looney Tunes half the time, and then he literally punches himself in a manner that looks silly. Oh, suddenly, this man envisions the girl he burned because... apparently when he gets too aroused or horny, he will literally set the people he loves on fire, like... Look, we made fun of it in Incredible Hulk. We're making fun of it here too. Like,
wow, November's got to be easy for this guy.
Oh snap! That's a good point, actually.
That would be more like roasted, not November for the guy.
Which also means that for the purpose of this movie, Macy Williams' character failed, according to her confession.
Damn. I mean, okay, yeah, I'll give it this. It did seem like they had an interesting thing going with Wolfsbane. I guess her arc was that she was supposed to learn to control her powers enough to the point where she's more like a werewoman. Well, not just that, but more she's more like a werewoman where she goes partially into it instead of becoming full wolf, I guess. Mm-hmm. Which, fair beans, I guess. The relationship between her and Danny was fine enough, although, like Tio said, easily editable in a form here, the cowards.
Usual business for Hollywood.
But at the end of the day, it's nothing remarkable. And I'm sorry, there needed to be some remarkable stuff to make up for all this goddamn silliness here and there. Like, yes, the movie expects us to believe this may be for Xavier's school, to the point where it's supposed to be a big shock when, oh, what a surprise, they were working for an evil corporation after all. Like, Essex or not, this movie desperately wants to hide things, but does such a terrible job at it that you almost feel sorry for it. It's like a toddler who accidentally spoils to their parent what their birthday present is going to be, and you just try to go, oh, that's nice, I'll just try and pretend I didn't hear that for it. It's kind of embarrassing at points. Like, look, if you like this movie, that's fine. But this, look, it's better than Dark Phoenix, but I'll admit Dark Phoenix would have at least have been something of a more amazing blaze of glory to go out of, and how bad it is. This just feels sad, especially when you know that these guys are gonna die anyway, so...
No refunds.
Yeah, there's like, gee, what a shock. The movie that didn't really matter much to us, didn't matter much to the studio, so they pretty much just took it out behind the barn, Old Yeller style, and let it off into the wilderness before pulling the trigger. So yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Not as bad as some of the worst stuff, like Dark Phoenix or X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it's still pretty bad, and it's such a lame way to end things out on. But thankfully, it won't be the last X-Men thing we commentate on.
No, but more on that later. First, before that, Dibs, rewatching this movie for this occasion, please.
Well, I mean, I still think it's a better last film in a series than Dark Phoenix was. For one thing, it just comes and goes as opposed to just making me feel really depressed for the rest of the day. You know, especially considering all the stuff that was going on before the release and the film itself.
Are you referring to the movies that came out before, or the movie itself's production?
The film itself.
Ah.
Yeah, plus the Disney happened. Yeah, basically, this is why one of the reasons I really wanted to see this film in the cinema, pandemic or no, was that I fancied closure, because I think out of all of us, I'm the biggest defender of the X-Men films in general. Like, because I appreciate that these are the films that helped, along with stuff like Blade and Spider-Man and so on.
Saving Marvel from bankruptcy, in the year 2000.
Not only saving Marvel from bankruptcy, but also helping to get the superhero films that we know today to help get them off the ground. And also for at least a good chunk of it having a more consistent tone compared to, say, the MCU. Unfortunately, like a lot of other long-running series, it's bound to have its ups and downs, and unfortunately it ended with a bit of a down, albeit not as bad as the previous one. New Mutants is just fine, really. I mean, for every decent bit that's in it, there's also one really hilariously daft bit. And I mean, all the actors in it are at least trying. It's not like what Jova said. It's not like everyone, unless your name is Evan Peters or McAvoy or Fassbender. It's not like they just felt like giving up.
Oh, true. It's like I said, it doesn't look like everyone was dying inside, like with Dark Phoenix, where no one wanted to be around at that point. Much as Fassbender did manage to hide it, I will give him that.
I mean, I'll give it credit for a film that didn't have that big of a budget compared to his contemporaries. The effects are at least somewhat decent. Yeah, like I said, all the actors are trying, and again, I mean, at the very least, I was entertained. I wasn't bored at any point. I mean, I was either entertained even by the few interesting ideas it had, or the hilarity, and also, but I also had that little feeling at the back of my head, knowing, this is going to be the last one of these kinds of movies, because knowing Disney, they'll just probably retcon everything except Deadpool. And
even still, how much you want to bet they're gonna use the ending of a certain Deadpool movie to explain Deadpool coming into the MCU minus everyone else?
Yeah, again,
according to that skit with Taika Waititi's character from Korg, Jova, it just happened like that.
In both the meta sense and production-wise, it makes sense. At least because I mean, of all the characters that from the X-Men film series that are either still have their original actors playing them, or other factors, Deadpool was the biggest one to use. That's right. Deadpool's the best one to use, considering Hugh Jackman's not going to be Wolverine anymore. Really, this film just left me thinking, really, okay, that was the end of the X-Men series. It was a fun ride. Now what? Are they gonna keep this tone going if they do any more X-Men stuff? Are they gonna try and blend it more with the humorous tone from the other movies? Which I really hope they don't go the Eternals route if they do.
For the time being, we don't know that, Dweebs, because for the time being, Marvel has announced nothing mutant-wise for the MCU outside of renewing the season. Sequels to the series. Yeah, but I mean, mutant-wise, the Fantastic Four are not the mutants. But mutant-wise, the only thing that we just got to know, thanks to Disney Plus Day, was the next season for X-Men 97. Now it's officially called like that. But unless they want to cannibalize that and say that it's part of the MCU multiverse, I really doubt we're going to use that as a trampoline for the mutants in the MCU.
Yeah, they'll probably, again, Deadpool aside, they'll probably just reset everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least it didn't end on an embarrassing note, the series. It just kind of ended. No, that's it. It just kind of ended. And I'm considering the year it came out, it was probably even more of a muted flame out. Because, barely anyone was going cinemas.
Again, like, look. The only way they could have made it any more clear they wanted this to die was if they've released it in January.
Well, that's the thing. More people were in cinemas in January 2020 compared to that August.
No. They released Underwater in that period instead.
Yeah. Also, just when I said January, I meant January 2021, when the pandemic was still pretty big at a high.
Overall, it was fine. It wasn't horrible. I mean, it wasn't great either. It was just kind of there.
All right.
Tio,
I'm pretty much with Dweebs on this one. It's not the worst movie that I've seen in 2020 in cinemas. That honor kind of goes to something that I'm not even sure. I can't show it to you because I don't know if there's an English dub of it, but let's just say there is a bad movie that came out that year that I saw in theaters. It's not the best movie that I saw in theaters either. That honor goes to Premiere for me. I know that the hot meme is to say that it wasn't really good at all, but I really did enjoy it instead. Better than this one. This one kind of feels like in the middle. I will tell this, I care more about these characters than any of the Xavier's cool class in Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. Of those movies, I only cared about Xavier himself, and how the movie tried to demonize him.
Hey, Jubilee was there.
For like a second. Okay, maybe I cared about Psylocke, but not that much, to be honest. Anyway, the biggest problem of this movie to me is how they handled the character of Magic. You bother to actually hire, actual Native Americans, one for your main protagonist role, mind you, which is kind of groundbreaking on that front. And in order to antagonize her, you use basically a very outdated method that that is in day and age cannot fly properly unless you are very specific in how you do it, and clearly this was not the case. And even worse, you do that, but you don't really care what you do for the character. Sunspot instead, which did attracted, controversy around it, because Brazilian people kind of do care also about what kind of representation they do get in movies. Sorry. Other than that, I still technically cared enough about what was going on. That's the biggest thing I kind of disagree with Jova. The thing about the more serious moments being goofier to me, I don't know why. I guess I just did care enough about them, but they weren't that bad enough for me to be distracted. So I could take the movie technically seriously. That being said, the biggest factor that is objective about this is the incompetence of Dr. Race's character. Despite being appointed by Mr. Sinister's organization on the place, she does a terrible job at it. And granted, like I said, it's mostly because Danny Moonstar was kind of spreading the works that no one was expecting. But geez, you'd think that Mr. Sinister would have a contingency plan for something like that instead of, just wait a bit and if things get worse, Terminator.
Here's the thing, think about it. Arguably, if the other characters had just put their heads together, they probably could have taken her on.
For the record, Mr. Sinister in the comics is that kind of guy who has a gajillion plans, and even if it seems that everything is destroyed, it was just a thing that was a stepping stone in his next bigger plan. So it is that kind of manipulator guy. So it's kind of out of character for him to have this kind of facility crumbling this easily. But other than that, I like the set of powers. I was fine with the Demon Bear as the final boss, and even the message that he needed to be tamed. Again, it's better than Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse, and it's a better conclusion for the mutant version, but it still leaves things on a sour note, and it's not conclusive at all. Still, that's the biggest problem to me with the mutant franchise. It was abruptly killed without the possibility of having an ending. Again, I'm still open to the possibility that something out of this other than Deadpool will be rescued. I was hoping that at least James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Professor X and Magneto, but considering neither of them really enjoyed returning for roles in Dark Phoenix, I get the idea that that ship had sailed in always. So I'm not sure that any of these kids will be rescued in some kind of capacity. Again, at the very least, Wolfsbane and Danny Moonstar. There is potential for those two at the very least. But we'll have to see how things turn out. What we do know is that someone else got rescued from someone entirely did got rescued and eventually joined the MCU. But we haven't at that point yet. So join us for Dweez's birthday when we take a look at the original R-rated cut, mind you, because it's important to specify, of Deadpool 2. See ya.
See you then.
See ya.
See ya.